Hey everyone, welcome to the show. Today we have fanatical collector Derek Wischmann. Welcome to the show, Derek. We can't wait to hear the story of you.
Hey, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on the podcast. I'm a big fan of Ingrid Hardy. Not the biggest fan of Elaine Perna, but no, I'm kidding. I love Elaine's episode, but I technically am under contract by her husband not to mention The Rocks and to say boo.
Oh, he would definitely say boo.
Okay,
thanks for having me on the show.
For anyone who doesn't know, you have to go back to Elaine Perna's episode, which is in the beginning someplace. I think it's the 5th or 6th one or something. So
I think it's the 4th or the 5th episode.
4th or the 5th, so. And we'll catch up. You'll catch up on all the rocks. It's very interesting. Which we still have to work on that set we were talking about.
Yeah, me and Lindsay, we have something going for that.
And Lindsay will be back.
Yes,
be honest.
She will.
Go ahead, Elaine.
Okay, Derek, how long have you been collecting Star Wars cards?
Okay, so I started collecting Star Wars cards in 1992, 1993. Not really super hardcore into it in terms of like getting every single one, but I'm a big fan of Star Wars trading cards in terms of getting started with the Galaxy sets, the New Visions, and some of the artist interpretations of classic scenes. Some of them that pop off the top of my head would be Mike Lemos, and he did a Greedo with his tongue hanging out, getting shot by Han Solo because Han only shot. I don't subscribe to this Han shot first. He only shot. Pay attention to detail, folks. And hey, before we get started too far into this, hey, I know what it's like to be sick. Best wishes to our UK friend who's out. Not that we don't love having Elaine here. Thanks for co-hosting, Elaine. But yeah, I know Lindsay's under the weather, and I hope that she gets feeling better because I miss her, and I've never commissioned her before. And she does those PiPs, the one with the big eyes.
Yes.
Yeah, the PiPs. I love that type of stuff, and I need to commission Lindsay. So shout out to Lindsay. Get feeling better quick, and hopefully.
Yes, we hope she gets well soon too, very soon.
Absolutely, and then the other thing I want to do is, because I was in the Army for 20 years, I always have to let people know a location. So if you see my hat, I'm in St. Louis. I'm in the Western Burbs, from Wildwood, Missouri, in the heartland, the gateway of America. And so I know Elaine's on the East Coast, and of course Ingrid is in Canada. So where are you at in on the East? Is it New York, Elaine?
We're actually right by Niagara Falls. So We're kind of on the border from New York, but we're not at the coast. We're still pretty good far distance from the coast, but we're right on the border of Niagara Falls.
You're on the Canadian side, aren't you, Elaine?
Yes, we're on the Canadian side. If I look out my window, because we're right on Niagara Boulevard, I can see Buffalo, New York right across the river.
I thought you were going to say you could see Ingrid if you look out. Since you're on the Canadian side, you can see Ingrid.
No, I'm in Ontario, and she's in the province Quebec. So she's one province over towards the east from us. So.
Yeah.
Ever since I was a kid and I saw Superman 2, I've always wanted to go to Niagara Falls. I've never been there. That's a bucket list thing for me. But I don't know if you remember on Superman 2, the little kid falls into the falls, and of course Superman saves the day and all of that. And please bear with me if I tear up or I start to tear up my office. It's because my St. Louis Cardinals got the crap beat out of them last night by Ingrid's precious Toronto Blue Jays. Big fan. I know Ingrid, big baseball fan. You got baseball questions, ask Ingrid. She will hook you up. But we got absolutely rocked last night, and my blood pressure is up. But so let's do an episode, shall we?
Yes. It'll get your mind off of the baseball game.
What was your introduction to trading cards in general? How did you manage to get into this whole mess?
So my introduction was actually the Kenner Star Wars toys, and I know I'm going to talk to you both about a lot about the impact of Star Wars on me, but I would just like to say for the record, I like other stuff besides Star Wars. Yes, 99% of my fleet that I'm surrounded here in my command center is Star Wars, but there are other pop culture things that I love too. I'm a big fan of Batman. I'm a big fan of Aliens. They mostly come out
Like
at night.
Indiana Jones.
Oh yes, I got some Indiana Jones here for you. Absolutely. So here's my first Indiana Jones card I'd like to show you. In fact, Ingrid, you might recognize this card, but
I do remember
that's
that
on my own personal stock.
Yeah.
I know it's kind of hard to see. I'm trying to show you in an easy way, but basically, whenever I was a kid, I was a big fan of the Kenner Star Wars toys, and that's really what got me into collecting and would eventually lead me down the path of getting into the cards whenever Galaxy hit in 1992 or 1993, the early 90s, with this kind of Star Wars renaissance of the early 90s.
Star Wars Renaissance.
And so,
can we just
That is so cool. I actually
continue going? Okay, please continue.
yes, and so whenever I was a little kid, this guy came into my life. We have Greedo here, and so a lot of people are ask me, how did I get started? Well, because of this guy right here. And he walked into a bar one day, and he came up to this guy right here, and he said, I've been looking forward to this for a long time. And this guy said, yes, I'll bet you have. Choo, choo! So that's what got it started all for me, really, was the Kenner action figures whenever I was a little boy growing up in the early 80s. And then another part of me getting started into all of this, Ingrid and Elaine, is my older brother Richie. I have a brother who's 9 years older than me named Richie. And so Richie encouraged me to watch Star Wars. He would show me the movies when we were kids. He would let me play with his toys. He would hand them down to me. And, my buddies would you should be interested in girls. You're interested in Star Wars. And my older brother Richie would be like, no, it's fine. It's fine to get into toys. But he was very encouraging of me at a young age with Star Wars. And then I had some of the Galaxy cards, which totally blew my mind in the early 90s. And then also my dad used to put packs of 1989 Topps baseball cards underneath my pillow at night. At first, it started with like the Tooth Fairy. You find something under the Tooth Fairy, and I would wake up and there would be the pack of cards. And then I got an A on a test, and then he just bought a whole bunch of packs and just started doing it every night. And the first thing I would do is I'd cut my cheek in the morning trying to eat the gum. And I loved the toys. I loved the cards. And what I would do is whenever I would on TV or watch the movies on VHS or ABC movie of the Sunday night movie or whatever, I would put the cards and I would put the toys out in front of me and I would play along with the movie. It was good for the imagination. It was good for the soul. And like I said, another thing that got me started early was comic books. I love comic books, but I don't have a huge comic book collection. But whenever I was a kid, I was helping my mom at the grocery store, and I saw this episode or this comic book of Trash from Batman from 1990, I believe, 90 or 91. It's Batman 613 from April of 1990. And it ends on a downer. It's super sad at the end, kind of like The Empire Strikes Back. The bad guys win, and it was very inspiring to me that the sun will rise tomorrow and we can move on and all that kind of stuff. But these things helped bring out the drama and all of the things that I was interested in, and so that's how I got going.
Interesting. So did you stumble upon sketch cards through all the trading cards?
That's how yes ma'am, that's true. In January of 2016, I've been collecting baseball cards for a long time and was mainly doing Kenner Star Wars toys and enjoying the movies, but I really didn't know much about the cards past the early 90 Galaxy cards. And on New Year's of January 1st of 2016, I was shopping for some Stan the Man Musial baseball cards on eBay, and I had heard that Topps baseball products had a hit other than like an autograph or game used, that they would have sketch cards. So I knew what sketch cards were in terms of like the baseball product, but I had no idea that they existed for Star Wars. And so then I got the words incorrect in the search box on eBay, thinking that I was shopping for Stan the Man Musial baseball cards, and a bunch of Star Wars sketch cards popped up, and my mind was just blown. I was just like, it's like jumping out of an airplane, just like the blast hits you and just whoa. And I spent 2 or 3 hours researching what they were. And I think pretty soon after that, I bought my first Star Wars sketch card, which I would love to show to you. This is the first card I ever bought of my favorite character from The Empire Strikes Back. And this is why I love sketch cards.
Nice. I remember seeing that card.
That is really cool.
Yeah, I submitted as the cover of your book for Volume 3. Buy Volume 3 now. on bookshelves now. So it's the manga by Tim Smith 3, Dengar, and
yeah.
So Elaine and Ingrid and anybody out there, why does Derek love sketch cards? Because I know what Dengar looks like, but I have never seen Dengar like this. The best kind of sketch cards show me content that is easy to identify, but I've never seen it like that before.
That's true.
And so I know that Dengar looks like this, and of course he's in the movie for only 1 second, but I have never seen Dengar like this. This is Lance Sawyer from the same set, Galaxy 5, but it's the regular Yoda back.
Yeah.
But I've never seen him like that before.
Nice.
And so just like I was watching DeHart's interview last night, the interview that Ingrid did with DeHart, and DeHart as a collector said, I don't possess the skills, the artistic skills to do this, and it's the same way with me. I don't possess the artistic skills to do that on a card, but God gave me the skills to enjoy with my eyes, to think with my mind, and to love with my heart. And so I read that out of a fortune cookie yesterday because I ate Chinese. No, I'm kidding. But just because I don't have the skills to do the illustration or do the art, I can still appreciate it. I can still learn about it. I can still read about it. And it's something that is good for the soul, something that helps keep me calm and keeps me out of going to the casino. And speaking of, and I know what Ingrid is saying right now. Ingrid is saying, is Derek really a fan of mine? I really don't know. Well, yes, I am a fan of yours. So, Volume 3, repetition.
I still have to pick up Volume 3.
We're here for you.
Me too.
No,
Me too. You'd think I would have one by now, but Ingrid is sure dragging her feet, taking her time. So,
but we're here for you today. We're not here for me. We're here for you today. So, so why are you so obsessive about being a collector? I mean, I say that in a good way because obviously you are very serious in your collecting.
Well, the number one answer is because I'm an idiot. No, I'm kidding. The reason why I'm so into it is because these things help me create a connection, and it's a passion that I have with my free time. One of the big reasons why I'm into all of this is because I grinded in the Army for 20 years. And so from the late 1997, of course, I had 1 year break in service in 2015, but I retired from 20 years in the Army in 2019, and I was gone a lot, and I did not get to read a lot, and I did not get to enjoy Topps Galaxy Star Wars cards or anything like that. The Army was good for me. It provided me an education, a way of life, but I was deployed a lot. I did 2 combat tours in Iraq. I did a combat tour in Afghanistan in 2008. And so I spent 33 months of my first 10 years in the Army overseas deployed to combat. And so one of the side effects of that was, what am I going to do whenever I get out? What brings me happiness? What brings me passion in terms of collecting? There's more to this life than just collecting. I have a beautiful wife named Kristen. I have 4 lovely children. I got my big brother Richie I told you about. I'm a big fan of him. My parents are awesome. I love my mom. I love my dad. I need to get them on the podcast sometime because they are. You think I'm crazy? They are insane, but in a good way. But the Army is a lot like being in prison, I guess. I've never been in prison, but Elaine told me some stories about being in prison because she was jailed earlier before we got onto the podcast. No, I'm kidding. But
I was only jailed from buying more rocks. That's all.
Yeah, boo. No, but in the Army, I didn't. Whenever I wanted to sleep at 2:00 in the morning because I was tired, I had to go to work. I'd be crawling into bed at 1:55 a.m. in the morning, and one of my buddies, Greg, who I vowed to I would never let down, would knock on my door 1:55 in the morning, pitch black. Hey, Derek, need some help in the operations center. There's some stuff going down, and some of our Afghan brothers and sisters got hit. Can you come help out? And then I would be like, well, sure. And then the next day after everything was over, hey, there's other guys on the base. Why do you come to me? And Greg said something to me that is very meaningful. And he said, because I know that you would say yes. I knew that you would say yes. You're reliable, and so even before the Army, the Army brought it out in me. But before I was in the Army, if I'm going to do something, I'm going full bore. I'm going full out. And it all started whenever I was 8, and I started working pushing a trolley cart at a train station, and I sold on the trolley cart sodas, chips, and candy bars. And I sold those for a little bit of a profit. Then I'd take that money, put it into my pocket, and go buy a Star Wars action figure from the antique mall or a garage sale or something like that. So I'm so into it because the Army ruined me. I have to have a little bit of dark humor.
Does that mean that you have most of your collection is 3 years old? Like you started in 2019, your sketch cards? Like after you retired out of the Army?
So the Star Wars sketch cards, because there's the Star Wars sketch card, Elaine, started on January 1st, 2016. And so I had the Kenner toys and all that stuff whenever I was a kid, and then of course was able to get more money and get the nicer blue snaggletooth with disco silver boots whenever I actually had some money joining the Army, and actually had a paycheck and got ahead in life and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, the Star Wars sketch cards really started in January 2016. I know I'm way late to the table. Or to the table.
You have so many in such a short amount of time. Wow.
I steal the money out of my wife's purse. My wife is a small animal veterinarian, and she makes a comfortable living. And then, of course, I did well in the Army. I'll be doing even better in 19 years whenever I can hit my retirement money. But I sell a lot of baseball cards that I don't want, that are just sitting collecting dust, on eBay. And I have little, I have little side hustles, here and there. And the main side hustle being selling baseball cards and selling things on eBay. For example, in 2004, I bought a collector's series Lego Darth Vader ship. It was like over 1,000 pieces. It was absolutely huge. And I bought it with the intent of cracking it open to play with it. And whenever I got back to my apartment, and I was in the regular Army, at my apartment in Killeen, Texas, outside Fort Hood, there was a voicemail on my answering machine. Remember those? We all didn't have cell phones back then. It was my battalion commander saying, "Come into my office. I need to talk to you right away." And I knew that it had to be something deployment related, because I wasn't misbehaving, or I couldn't have been in trouble because I was behaving myself and, pretty much a rule follower and all of that. And he was just like, hey, I need 2 lieutenant/captains. I was a first lieutenant at the time. I need 2 officers to deploy to Iraq ahead of time to support a change of mission. Will you support it? And I would never ever let my little brother down. So of course I said yes. And that Darth Vader Lego ship just sat there. and it sat there until last year, Christmas of 2021. I bought it for $100. I flipped it for like $660 on eBay to have some money for Christmas. So yes, I do have a lot, but it's quality more than quantity.
That's very interesting.
That sounds. You have an impressive collection. I mean, you showed me just a small bit of them on Facebook, but I mean, they're very impressive, and you have so many different artists and different styles that you collect. It's just amazing.
Thank you, Elaine. I really appreciate it. My goal is to be like you. I want to have a bookshelf. Look at your bookshelf. It's got all kinds of stuff back there. That's what I want. That's what I want. That's
all Tony's. That's all Tony's stuff. He's a mad collector as well. He collects everything. He collects Godzilla, Bigfoot, and in the last 2 or 3 years, he's collected about 200 Funko Pops, maybe 300.
I remember in your video talking about the Funko Pops.
Yeah. So yeah, he's pretty addicted to them.
Does he do Mighty Mugs?
No, he used to do the mini-me's. He doesn't do the Mighty Mugs, not yet. But don't get him started, because he's like I am with my rocks or my Rogue sketch card collection. He's like that. Once he gets into something, he goes full force as well.
I totally get it. A man after my own heart. Hey,
yes.
Speaking of Godzilla, let me tie that in. I told you before in the pre-interview before the show started recording that I would repeat myself a little bit, or at least I would try to bounce off of what you two hosts say. But you mentioned Godzilla, and you mentioned this before. But I'd like to tell you about an amazing artist named Ray Lowell. And I don't know if you guys know him or not, but Ray collects Godzilla as well. He's got he's R Lowell, RLOWELL on Instagram. And by the way, you can see my stuff on Instagram as well at DWish80, DWISCH80. I have 333 posts. It's only Star Wars. It's only sketch cards, with of course the majority of it being Star Wars. But I have Aliens. I've got Batman. I've got some John Carpenter's The Thing. Big fan of that. Jaws. I have some Jaws sketch cards. But Ray Lowell is an artist who does some crazy stuff for me. Here's 3 of them. But Ray, with this big Godzilla collection, I had the idea of
awesome.
Whenever they were filming The Empire Strikes Back on October 31st of 1979, do they have a Halloween party? Yes, they did. Okay. Harrison Ford dressed up as Wolfman, and then Carrie Fisher dressed up as the Bride of Frankenstein.
I did not know this.
And then Mark Hamill dressed up as Frankenstein. In fact, you can see the cheesy 80s plastic hands and plastic mask with a rubber band going around his face. Trying not to be able to see the glare, but this is the good stuff. This is what it's all about. I've seen the movie a million times. I don't need to be reminded what the movie looks like. I want to see some new content. I want to see some creativity. That's another offset of being in the Army for 20 years. In 20 years, there were certain times in which I was encouraged to shut up and row, and then there were other times in which I was encouraged to be creative. And being creative is a lot more fun than we keep you alive. Did you see Ben-Hur? Yeah. We keep you alive to serve this ship, so row well and live. It's a lot like the Army. I mean, it's a crazy thing. So, but I wanted to show you these Ray Lowells, and of course I don't have any Godzilla stuff. I do like Godzilla, but I don't have any of his content. My battle buddy in Afghanistan was an older guy, and he was a big guy. He was always watching Godzilla, cheesy 70 Godzilla movies at night on DVD and all of that.
My husband has them all. He loves watching them as well, too.
I've seen a lot of the Godzilla stuff. The more of that type stuff I've seen mainly is more Gamera, because I'm a big Mystery Science Theater 3000 fan, and of course there's new episodes coming out. And I don't know if you two have had the privilege of this, but if you get it, take it. I actually have been able to see MST3K live. I've seen 2 live shows, one in St. Louis in 2018, and or maybe 2019. I get my years confused. And then right when COVID hit in February of 2020 at Mizzou, at the University of Missouri in Columbia, Missouri, and I met Joel. I met the new host. I can't think of his name, the guy with the glasses. I met him. In fact, I gifted Joel a sketch card at the Columbia show. It was done by artist Eddie Decker. Of course, I don't have a picture here to show you. Sorry about that. And it was of Joel with the accordion vacuum, which is part of the opening credits. And so I wanted to ask you two, because of I know that you both have a lot of interests. Do you watch Mystery Science Theater 3000? Is that something that they've got there up in Canada? Do you like that?
I used to watch the original ones. Oh my goodness, I think I was in my 20s, so it was over 20 years ago. I used to watch the original ones. You just sit back and have a couple of beers and just laugh to everything they say. I have not watched the newer ones, so I'm really behind, but I would really love to watch them.
Yeah, the new episodes are really good.
I had never heard of them before I worked on the set, on the sketch card set.
They are so funny. They just pretty much do talkovers over the movies, and I mean it's hilarious.
Once I got on the set, well, then I had to go look them up on YouTube to know what to draw and what it was and all that, and then I kind of got sucked into it. It's kind of like an adult version of the Muppet Show in a way.
Yeah.
Yes, it's like it's a lot like Beavis and Butthead. It's a lot like The Simpsons. They have a lot of or Family Guy, the Family Guy, or American Dad, where you actually have to be intelligent, know something about pop culture, or know something about the references in order to get the joke. And whenever I was a kid, I was trying to tell my very, very Christian, conservative, church-going mother that Beavis and Butthead was actually a good show, because you had to be smart, you had to know about the references and stuff like that. And boy, she was not happy. She shot that idea down in flames quick. And
it's like that with South Park too. Everything they reference is like current stuff going on in the world, so they'll make fun and comedy over current things. So if you don't know anything current, you get lost with the episodes.
Yeah.
Yes, if you know something about it going in, you'll be able to pick up a lot more subtly the references and things like that. But then I also think, Elaine, that a good content will also be not so difficult to digest, to where if you come in, you won't be 100% completely lost. A good example of that is I'm a big fan of, and I don't have any sketch cards of it, but I need to start. Want to do a commission, Ingrid, of Blade Runner and Blade Runner 2049. My wife had never seen Blade Runner before, but she wanted to watch Blade Runner 2049, the sequel, the second movie. And I said, babe, you're not going to know what's going on. And she's like, will you just let me watch the movie? Because her boyfriend is Ryan Gosling. She's going to divorce me any second and go marry Ryan Gosling. And so she loved the movie. She absolutely loved Blade Runner 2049. There were a couple of things that she didn't pick up on because she hadn't watched the original Blade Runner, but that movie is a good example of, hey, this is good content. This is good story. You don't have to have. It would be better if you watched the original, but if you missed it, come on in. Here's the new movie. And then she went back and watched the original Blade Runner, and her, of course, afterwards, her first words were, "I can tell why you like it. A lot of cheesy '80s special effects and all that kind of stuff." But I love content like that where. It does help if you know the previous movie, but like James Bond, you don't have to have watched the previous movie. You can come in, it'll be just fine. In fact, the best type of content will motivate you to go back and watch the original because you had such a good time enjoying the current content.
That's what I like about The Empire Strikes Back. The Empire Strikes Back is a movie that, yeah, maybe it's best if you've seen the first one, but you don't have to watch any other movie. You can watch it on its own. It's a story, the beginning, a middle, and the end. It tells its own story. Well, of course, except for the very, very end. You want to know what happens,
Sure.
but
Absolutely.
otherwise, it's pretty much self-contained, and you don't really need to know much more than what you see right there.
Yes, The Empire Strikes Back is my favorite. Not only my favorite Star Wars movie, but my favorite my favorite movie of all time.
It's a good movie.
I'm also a big fan of Jaws and Goodfellas, but with one. I've always been in preparing for this interview. I've always been trying to ask myself, how can I best answer the question? How did I get here? What was the genesis and all that kind of stuff? I'll tell you what. I'm about ready to show you something that was huge for me, and this was in 1994. I even remember going to the Walden bookstore in the Cape Girardeau Mall to buy this. But why am I the way that I am? A lot of it has to do with this book right here. This. Trying to get the right angle. But this is the concept art by Ralph McQuarrie, Joe Johnston, and a host of others from The Empire Strikes Back. I bought this, flipping through it, and I fell in love with this book immediately. As soon as I would wake up in the morning, I would wipe the sleep out of my eyes and work my way through the book, and then I fell asleep with this book on my face so many times whenever I was a young teenager. And of course I went back and bought the one for Star Wars and for Return of the Jedi, which is weird because those two actually had the shooting scripts in them, and this one, as beautiful and wonderful as this book is, it doesn't have the shooting script in it. And so I was kind of let down a little bit about that, but it's got concept art and just beautiful artwork, and a lot of introduced me to the world of art in terms of sketches, thumbnails, how do artists develop how do artists develop stuff. It's kind of hard to see, but this book right here is very, very. This is my original. I've kept it in good condition because I'm the middle of three boys, and they always would tear my stuff up, so I never let them play with my stuff because they'd always tear it up. But this was a game changer for me, and this came out in 1994. I think it was like $12 or $13. I pushed a lot of lawnmowers. I babysat a lot of kids. I did a lot of my side hustle to go buy that with my own money, and boy, that was a game changer for me for sure. So
I love concept art books. They're always really good to see, just the way that they develop characters or they develop scenes, because you have to do all the the layouts for everything. It's just amazing to see the concepts from zero to when they finally start shooting.
Yes, and I believe that if whenever I take a look at the previous episodes that Ingrid and Lindsay have filmed, you're talking to artists, you're talking to collectors, you're talking to people who are doing their own podcasts or doing their own thing. I know that this is basic, but you should not take anything for granted, right? But a lot of it has to do with early age, education, reading. I lived in Afghanistan for a full year, and education and reading, particularly of females, is not encouraged there. And so I don't mean to talk down about their society about that or be disrespectful, but I've lived in places where education and reading and creativity are not encouraged. And so whenever I see all of Elaine's books in the background, I'm making a joke about all the books back there, but it warms my heart to see books and reading, because in our technological world sometimes it's appropriate to put down the remote control, put down the video stick, and actually do some reading. And of course I have 4 children all under the age of 8, so we're big into reading and pushing that. I also taught for a year in 2020. I taught at a special needs school in St. Louis for kids who'd been kicked out of their schools due to poor behavior, and I taught 9-year-old and 10-year-olds, basically a 3rd and 4th grade, and a lot of them at that stage still didn't even know their ABCs, or they knew their ABCs, but only partially and couldn't read. So I don't take any of this stuff for granted. I used to in the past, and that is a mistake that I've made. But another book that was big for me was the Star Wars read along. It had the record. I don't have the record, but I still have the book. This is from whenever I was a kid, and you can get these on eBay for like $5, $6. It's amazing what you can find on eBay. But the thing I remember about this is that you would be reading it along, and the narrator would say, "When you hear R2-D2 whistle, it's time to turn the page." And so you'd be reading along, and then R2 would go beep 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 beep, beep, and then you would you turn the page, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed this book as a child, and now I'm 41, and I'm enjoying this book as an adult because this book helped me develop my 40th Empire Art Show. I'm working on a 50th anniversary art show because they had to select which scenes tell the story. Yeah. So it's just amazing how a book designed for little kids is still teaching. I first saw this whenever I was 3 years old. And here I am 41 and I'm still studying the book.
I didn't even know they made those. Those are really cool.
There was two versions, Elaine. One that came with the record, and then there was also one that came with the cassette. And I don't know what happened to the record. I don't have it. And
Elaine, you have to find one for Tony for some horror thing or something. I bet he'd have fun with that.
I can find the one with the record. I just don't think I have a cassette player anymore.
That's right.
They probably do have read-along ones for some of the monster stuff, especially Universal monsters. Kids love that.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Hearing you talk about all the books that you've collected, stuff like that, it's pretty amazing. I love technology. I've got my phone. I read on my laptop. But books, it is really nice to sometimes just sit down and leaf through actual pages. I don't know if it's because we grew up with actual books. It'll be interesting to see.
I prefer books as well.
It'll be interesting to see how the very current, the 5-year-olds and all that, how they grow up, and if they miss books or if it's something they don't really care about. That's something that'll be interesting to see. I really do hope that we can keep the printed page going, even if we have to change from trees to something manufactured. I'm sure it can be done.
I hope it's still get into reading.
I had wanted to ask you a question, and it just flew right out of my mind as I was talking. Shameful. Oh yes, I wanted to ask you. You've been collecting mostly Star Wars, but you do have other interests. Have you ever tried collecting from some of the independent companies?
Yes, yes, I have. I don't have a ton of it, but off the top of my head, I've reached out to Richard Parks. His episode is hilarious, is awesome. I love that guy. And in fact, if you could figure out a way how to clone him, I'll sign up to be a lifetime Patreon member. But then I also Rusty Gilligan is another one. I may get the names wrong here, so bear with me. But I think I supported Rusty on I think it was a Wizard of Oz. There was a Wizard of Oz from the Bomb books. There was a Bomb book set where the base cards were about the books, and then of course there were sketch cards and there were relic cards in there. I pulled one of the Scarecrow and the Tin Man, and I also pulled one of the Frog characters. That's not really in the movies, but prominent in the books. But yes, I love those type companies. I also did one of it was Triple S. Scary Sexy Space that had the little mini cards, and it was a throwback to like Tales from the Crypt, old pulp stuff from the 20s and 30s. Cool. I pulled a skeleton, a skeleton skull that glows in the dark. Of course I have all this stuff set out to show you, and I didn't bring everything with me, so I apologize for that. And I'm trying to think. I know about some of the other sets like Mystery Science Theater 3000 and things like that. And I know that Richard Parks is big into Ultraman. I don't have any of that. I do. I am on a budget. But I think that stuff is great, and supporting that stuff is absolutely awesome. One thing that I'd like to say about Ultraman with Richard Parks is that I also like to collect video games. I was a Nintendo kid, and it just warms my heart that my 5-year-old son Walter said the other day, said, "Dad, I want to be a Nintendo kid with you." But you can get on YouTube and watch videos of people playing games, and you can see the rest of the game after. Because as a kid, I couldn't get past the first level. But there's an amazing Ultraman Super Nintendo game that not a lot of people know about. But you can watch the guy beat it and go through all of the characters. And that's what's cool about this medium is that I could be introduced to pop culture or a reference or something that I know nothing about, and then explore this infinite sea that is out there: YouTube, social media, Instagram, Messenger, or whatever. But yes, I am a Nintendo kid, and of course I'm a completionist. I don't have to, and when I say I'm a completionist, I don't have to have every one. I have to have every piece of that product. So I got me a couple of Nintendo games, and yes. I know, Derek, are you really a fan of The Empire Strikes Back? Yes. Horrible game. Horrible game. It's way too difficult. The character crouches before you jump. The special effects and the music are amazing. This is one of the best boxes. I have the styrofoam insert, the advertisements inside of it. I have everything in here.
So it's cool.
It is complete, and then I've got one of my favorite games, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and then I got Super Mario 2. So while I main sketch cards, there are other. I try not to limit myself to the physical collecting of a thing. I'm only pigeonholed by my imagination and the realistic part of money and budgeting and things like that. So there are, and of course I'm not going to show you, but I also collect guns. I'm a big supporter of the Second Amendment. I believe in it. I also believe that if I have to register all my guns, and there's going to be tighter. I'm not trying to make this an anti-gun thing or whatever, but I believe that there's a happy medium. And if I have to register all my stuff to the ATF, all of my stuff, my guns, I'll happily do it. I believe that guns and firearms are good to be used for hunting and for safety. Not trying to go on a political tangent there, but I was in the Army for 20 years. I spent a lot of time on ranges and being safe, and I do collect pistols. I haven't shot in a while because I got kids, and I'm a stay-at-home dad while my wife works full-time. But I do enjoy hunting, and I haven't done it in forever, but I do collect. So I have all these mini collections, but the passion is definitely.
I was going to say, I used to enjoy shooting shotguns. I grew up in New Jersey, so we were always in the Pine Barrens, and we were always shooting targets, and I loved using the black bear bows or the guns. Never killed an owl because I don't know if I could do that, but I loved target practicing. It was just it was fun for me. I enjoyed it, but that's the only thing I do with guns. I like target practicing.
Sure, and that's the beauty of our country, and also Canada is that we can be the deciders. We can make decisions for ourselves. My wife was not raised around guns. She doesn't like guns. In order to make her feel comfortable, I bought a really huge and very expensive gun safe, big on gun safety. So just because she does not have a use for it doesn't mean that I'm going to belittle her or think negatively about her. Not a lot of people, think like that. And
you also have children too, so it is good to have them locked away where they can't get into them or accidentally play with them or.
Yeah. No, I'm very safe. I'm very safe with the kids and all of that. And then as they're still pretty young, but as they get a little bit older, I'm definitely going to be teaching them about gun safety and the joy of target shooting and all that. But that comes with age, maturity, and a lot more time and training. And I tell you what, the training and the safety pays off. 20 years in the Army, spent tens of thousands of hours on ranges. I served in a tank brigade for 2 years, and a tank brigade was created for one reason and one reason only, and you could probably figure out real quick why that was created. I never had a negligent discharge, don't have a scratch on me. Some of that was luck, but a lot of it was using safety precautions and really being situationally aware. And what I've tried to do is I've tried to use what I learned in my 20 years in the Army and apply the smart lessons learned to my life. Even to this day, even if it doesn't have a military application, it could still be applied to the civilian side of things. Which is why I yell. No, I'm kidding. I don't. Hey, 20 years in the Army.
You're very big into safety because you have been a military, and so you're very aware and knowledgeable of all of this.
That I can certainly understand. But we'll kind of direct it back to now that we've gone into safety and regulation of guns and stuff. We can maybe drag it back to
the sketch cards now.
What do you see as the future for you, Derek, going forward in your collecting habits?
So my future is to celebrate the 50th anniversary of The Empire Strikes Back in 8.5 years when we get to the year 2030, because Empire was released in the summer on May 21st of 1980. And so I have got my own line of stock, and I'm commissioning artists all over the world, including this Canadian artist with the last name of Hardy, and I had my own sketch cards made of wide vision. There's not a lot of wide vision stuff out there, and so I had my own stock made, and I want to commemorate and celebrate The Empire Strikes Back on its 50th year. Here's one by David Day.
Very nice.
I knew Lindsay was gonna. I know Lindsay's a co-host, and so we got to support the UK. And so I had artist David Gaskin do one. I'm trying to eliminate. I apologize for the glare.
I really like your custom cards. They're really cool.
Thank you.
Nice, and they're nice to draw on and paint on too. They're very nice.
Well, the other thank you. The other thing about the custom cards is if you watch Ingrid's episode 6.5 with Chris Mixer, you talk about blanks and you talk about the difficulty with blanks and aftermarkets and stuff like that. And so, hey, if it's my own stock, I can do what you know. So I don't necessarily. I enjoy Tops. I enjoy Upper Deck. I enjoy Rittenhouse. I enjoy the official stuff. But I don't necessarily have to. It allows me more freedom in order to put out a show, because, as you know, the last couple of years, Topps Lucasfilm has been a little more restrictive on content because they, legal things and stuff like that. But here's a Bosk that Matt Skillern did.
Love the colors.
Thank you. And here's a. And
nice
IG88 with some green, and so it's just fun. I don't know if you're
creating your own cards and then having them all commissioned and all that does give you a good deal of freedom.
Yes, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, and it doesn't interfere with the official process, and the artists like doing it. And commissioning artists is so much fun. I've met some amazing people and had some great conversations with them, but it's win-win. I get great art for my collection. They get to do their art. They get to have some creative freedom, and then they're going to use that paycheck to pay their bills and to buy more pens and buy more stock of their own, and it's a very, very good thing.
I still have some of Elaine's cards. She did a couple of Family Guy cards for me years and years and years ago, and I still have them there on my
yeah, I was using Tony's card stock back then because he had his own personal, sketch card stock, and I was I think I spent a couple of $100 from him. I just started drawing Family Guy. I was doing parodies. I love doing the Star Wars stuff or Family Guy's X-Men. I love the parody stuff. That was just amazing. I think I might want to start getting back into it again.
Oh, you must.
Yeah. And then I'm also a big fan of Western movies. I don't know if you ever saw the movie Unforgiven with Clint Eastwood, and that has a very iconic poster. And I was like, hey, let's have an Empire Strikes Back poster. So I had to do a 2-card puzzle, and it's an Empire Strikes Back version of the Unforgiven poster, because I like to do puzzles as well.
So cool.
And of course, collecting real pack insert puzzles are difficult because they're out in the wild and you never know.
And you might not ever find the piece that you need to go along, and you might never find the second or third piece of the puzzle. And or if someone is looking for it, they might want to charge you an arm and a leg because they know you're looking for it.
I have a speaking of UK artists, I have a Marsha Parkins 2017 A New Hope, a 2-card puzzle, but I've only got one side and I can't find the other one, and I've been searching for it for years, and I may never find it, but I may find it one day. And then here's a pretty cool one from Eric Mail, from concept art from The Mandalorian Season 1 on Galaxy 4, and he was inspired by an artist, Nick Grinrow. I don't know if I'm saying that right, Nick Grinrow. And so if you look at the top, he wrote after Nick Grinrow to honor his art. But we're big fans of the Bounty Hunters and some of the Mandalorian content, and also with whenever I found out IG-11 was going to be in the first Mandalorian series season. I actually did a 31-card show for a bunch of IG-88s because I was sick and tired of the same old shot being used over and over and over of IG-88. So somewhere in this house I have 31 never-before-seen IG-88 commissions, and you can actually see it. I posted it over Inktober. October is one of my favorite months because I love Halloween. And but I posted one a day, and that was in October of 2018, I believe. And so if you get on Star Wars Card Collectors, the Facebook page, Star Wars Card Collectors, I'm always asked, or I know you sometimes ask, where can we find you? Star Wars Card Collectors. I'm on there. Of course, Derek Wischmann. I'm also on Galaxy of Star Wars Cards. That's a good one. Another place you can find me is a website called sketchcollectors.com. There's 82,000 sketch cards that you can look at right now on on sketchcardcollectors.com for free.
I also have a small amount of sketch cards posted on there as well. Some of my personal collection. I like using that website as well.
Yes, it's fun. I've only got about 300 posts on there, so I need to get I need to get caught up, because I think I have at least 301 sketch cards. But on sketchcollectors.com, my page is PC464. And then, of course, I mentioned Instagram earlier. I'm on Instagram, dwish, WISCH 8080, and I'm a big fan of Messenger. Just messenger me, show me your stuff, we can talk. I love Messenger. I started bugging Ingrid as soon as I got my first commission with her, and we've been friends, and I adore her artwork ever since. So.
Ooh, that's a nice one.
Oh, that's nice.
This is Danny Kidwell, and
Yes,
the glare is bad. And one thing I love about sketch cards, one of my pet peeves is whenever artists do not sign the back, and a lot of artists have a little personal. See the little red there?
So you have a very hard time trying to figure out who they are.
Yeah, I love it whenever artists put their own initials, their own logo. I'm a big fan of logos. I was in the Army for 20 years, so it's all about insignia and painting rocks and all that kind of stuff. Everywhere you go in the Army, there's always an artist in every company that paints rocks to paint their unit insignia or whatever. But I'm not an artist, but I try to participate in the art world in my own way, and this is how I'm doing it, by being a fan of sketch cards. And then another one is these booklets from 2015 Empire Illustrated. Okay, so you see that one there, and then it was pulled in a pack like this, and then of course you can do the reveal.
Nice.
And Elaine, have you seen Ingrid's artwork on this set?
I have not. I'm going to have to go back and look.
Incredible, absolutely incredible. Before we started, Ingrid said, "Make sure you reference me a lot. Make sure you talk to me about me a lot. Make sure and all that kind of stuff." Elaine, you have got to see Ingrid's work in this set. You know what she did, Elaine? She did classic Empire Strikes Back scenes, but from a far distance, way far. She has done sketch cards for that set that I've never even seen before, that I've seen no one else do. For example, the Bespin carbon freezing chamber where Han Solo was frozen. She did a far view of the chamber before everybody shows up with no characters in it, and it's got orange smoke and brown steps, and it is jaw-droppingly beautiful. I mean, with this amazing artwork out there.
I love her doing that.
It's not about me.
How could we not do?
Back to you, Derek. For you.
But we still have to talk about yours as well because they're amazing in the set.
Yeah, that's very nice. But yeah, who's that?
This has been done. This is the first pano I ever bought. Been done, 2015.
Nice.
This is the first pano I ever bought.
Ah, it's so nice.
It's just beautiful. It's just beautiful. How many times have I seen The Empire Strikes Back? A million times. But that's the best type of sketch card, is where you're showing me something that is easy to recognize, but I've never seen it like that before, with the Imperial officer talking to Vader in his meditation chamber. I mean, of course we're teasing Ingrid, but how could I not be a fan whenever this artwork is just amazingly beautiful? And then to highlight another artist that I think is under the radar and doesn't get a lot of praise, Lindsay. You know Lindsay? Now this was a pull. I didn't buy this one off eBay. I pulled this one out of box of 2013 Empire. I mean, who has seen a purple Obi-Wan Kenobi or Ben Kenobi from Star Wars with that yellow? And that's another thing. Not only has sketch cards allowed me to physically collect something, but it has caused me to realize yellow and purple go together pretty well. I didn't go to art school. I didn't go to art school. I didn't learn all of this stuff. It's very interesting watching your podcast, Ingrid, because you're talking to a lot of artists, and I hear all about crafts, about your craft, and I hear a lot about the tools. And this stuff is just stuff that I never even thought of, that I just naturally wouldn't think of. And thanks for having me on the podcast, and thank you for doing the podcast. It is just rich with content. I really dig it. You're doing a great job.
Well, before we leave, it's pretty much coming up on an hour. Before we leave, what do you think? What are you missing from your collection right now? Is there a particular set? Is there a particular subject or character that you're missing that you would like help from another collector to get, or something like that?
Well, I tell you, one of the things that I'm a big fan of that I don't have a lot of content, I'm a huge fan of Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. I do have a couple of sketch cards from that movie, not a whole lot. But I do have this Michael Loco. This is for you, David Baker. There's Molaram from Michael Duran Loco Duck from Temple of Doom. I do have a couple of Temple of Doom sketch cards. Here's a Rich Woodall from Indiana Jones Masterpieces. I don't have a lot of Temple of Doom content. I'm trying to get more Temple of Doom content. And, of course, I showed this to you the other day, but one of the things that I'm trying to do is sketch cards are wonderful, but there are other ways to express myself artistically, and I don't do a lot of the comic book covers, but I did get me a sketchbook. I got me a sketchbook from Michaels. I bought this for $10. I got the Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom stickers from Redbubble for $5. and I'm passing it around to local artists in my community to do artwork. And
well, that's a great idea.
So I did. So I got artist Craig Skaggs.
The chilled monkey brains.
Hey, she's from Missouri. She's from Missouri.
Oh, I did not know it.
I'm going home. We were born in the same town, Chaffee, Missouri. Kate Capshaw, Steven Spielberg's wife, at the very end of the movie, I'm going home to Missouri, where they never try to feed you snakes or rip your heart out. So she's actually from Missouri. Got to pay attention, guys. Pay attention to detail. So, have I demonstrated my nerdery yet? And then here's
nice.
I always thought archaeologists were funny little men running around looking for their mummies. You know, so I'm a big fan of.
I'm a big fan.
Who's the artist?
Yes.
Okay, so Craig Skaggs from Illinois, from across the Mississippi River in Illinois, did the first one, and the second one is a St. Louis artist, a very young woman named Cartoons by Andy.
Oh.
And I can very easily show you her card. And I met her a couple weeks ago at my kids' first comic book convention. I took them to the St. Louis Mighty Con in St. Charles, Missouri, and my 7-year-old daughter Hazel, who was born with a pen in her hand, just absolutely loved it. And whenever I met Andy, I actually met her father. I didn't know that. I thought Andy was the father, and he's like, "Oh no, it's actually my daughter." So for about 5 minutes, I was talking to the dad, thinking that he was the artist. And so we had a pretty funny little thing about that. And then just as a goof, a month ago, my daughter said it's the summer, so we're out of school right now. We go back to school next month. My daughter was bored. Hazel, she's my little buddy, and I'm bored. Well, I'm Dad. Nice to meet you, bored. And she was getting on my nerves, you know. And I was just like, "We'll draw." And she loves art. I bought her all this art equipment. Very technical. Colored pencils and crayons and paper, and well, draw me a Darth Vader sketch card as a goof. Draw me a Darth Vader sketch card. Well, she did it. You got to be careful what you say to kids because they'll actually do it. She drew a Darth Vader sketch card, no reference, no nothing. She's never seen the movies. She's seen a couple episodes of the Clone Wars here and there and all that. I think that is pretty good for a 7-year-old daughter, and so she surprised me with that, and she absolutely loved that Mighty Con, seeing people in costumes, and then interacting with some of the artists there as well. So, does that answer the question? What I don't have? No, I'm just teasing.
I absolutely love your idea of the sketchbook. You know, and
thank you. Yes,
personalizing it and getting. I think that's genius. That's really
I don't. Of course, I don't have pictures of it. But whenever I went to the St. Louis Mighty Con a month ago, there was an artist there, Transformers G1 artist named D. Michael Watkins. Check him out, Michael Watkins on Facebook. Absolutely phenomenal. He was working on a sketchbook. It was about he was about the 30th artist in the book, and it was all X-Men. I'm sorry. Yeah, X-Men. It was no. I'm sorry, Spider-Man. I'm so excited. I don't even know what I'm saying. It was Spider-Man. It was a Spider-Man book, and so he was working on the sketchbook, and I was picking up my sketchbook, the Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom one from artist Craig Skaggs, and I was like, "Hey, can I look at that?" My mind and my eyes fell out of my head. There were he was the 30th artist to do that book, so there were 29 pages chock full of commissions and pictures of Mary Jane and Peter Parker and Spider-Man and Doc Ock, and it was just absolutely incredible. And an Imlay City, Michigan artist named Eddie Decker was the one that gave me the idea, and he's done many. I've commissioned him many times for my own sketch cards. That he was like, Derek, you should take a look at these sketchbooks, and it's awesome to see. You know, I'm only 2 in on this 100-page book, so my goal is to do 98 more pages, and then I'm going to fly up to Canada on the day that the Cardinals beat the Toronto Blue Jays, and I'm going to go to Ingrid's house and show her this book. But variety is the spice of life, and it definitely applies to art. And while I love the sketch card format, I love the singles, I love the panos, I love the wide visions, I kind of want to have something a little bit different. So that's why I'm doing the Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom book. I also have a book for The Empire Strikes Back. Shocker. And then I haven't done it yet, but I'm considering getting a third book, and it can be just whatever the artist wants to do. If Ingrid wants to do The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, or something like that, I'm not comfortable mailing it out yet. I'm doing it for local artists, but I would love to commission Ingrid or other artists that are out there to do these books, because these sketchbooks
Lindsay
open up a new avenue.
And Elaine would be absolutely amazing additions. You should really check out some of Elaine's work. You'd be surprised.
The second that I watched Elaine's episode, I said to myself, I definitely have to have Elaine on my 50th Empire project. I'm out of stock right now. My manufacturer is making more stock, but this stuff is fun. 2-1B medical droid from Empire.
Oh, I love
that's Chris Hamer. Oh, you got Ingrid. If you could ever get Chris Hamer on your show, he does his studio is called Urban Pop. Urban with an N. Urban Pop. He does amazing artwork as well. There's so many amazing artists. Here's one by Jeff Chandler.
Yep. Very beautiful. Gorgeous.
I like the colors a lot. The colors are very nice.
It's unbelievable. I mean, how many times have I seen The Empire Strikes Back whenever R2 falls off the ship and he puts his little scope out of the water? But you can actually see the monster. You know, you're adding creativity. This is what it's all about. This stuff is absolutely so much fun. And then another UK artist is Jason Davies. And he did they don't do this anymore, but remember, Ingrid, remember the Retail Reds?
Yes, I remember that.
You know, so I needed a Lando, I needed a Retail Red. Jason Davies.
For those who don't know, the Retail Reds, we were supposed to only draw with red or feature red as the color on the cards when we did the cards. I don't think they do that. I mean, that's a long time ago.
No,
that's very tough to work with one color.
That's fun. I love it. It's great. It's different. Well, I was told that we had to use red and maybe one other color. Well, it's a little bit like the sets that you put out, Elaine, where in your Inktober set or your ink set.
Yeah, the black and white art. Yeah, we're actually working on our second one now.
Ink, where it's just ink. That's all you can use. I think it's fabulous. It makes something a little bit different.
Yeah. Here's another example of purple and yellow.
Yes.
That's Nanato. If I'm butchering the names, I apologize. That's another wonderful thing about the podcast is that I'm actually getting to put the face with names, and also how do you actually pronounce the name. You had that interview with Jeff Zapata. I always pronounced it Zapata. And but this is Chris Natato from Batman Archives, and it's just amazing.
They look good together.
And I love the simplicity of it, but also the depth. And here's one from Raiders on my own personal stock that Eddie Decker's wife Mandy Greenman, now Mandy Decker, did.
Nice.
Bad dates. And another thing I've noticed, have you noticed, Ingrid, that there are not a lot of text balloons? There's not a lot of words on sketch cards anymore. And
well, for sets, I know that for a lot of company sets, we were specifically told not to do that.
I know. That's why I like personal sketch cards, because we're not necessarily bound by those rules. I do love official stock, but you know,
you can do what you want.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So got that. And then here's a couple more mashups. I love mashups. I don't have a lot of them, but whenever I was a kid, did you guys watch Them Duke Boys Are At It Again? The Dukes of Hazzard. Here's Here's Boss Hogg as a snow trooper, and then here's Uncle Jet. If Alec Guinness would not have been hired, if he had not been cast to be Obi-Wan Kenobi, but instead Uncle Jesse.
That's so cool.
So, Denver.
I like mashups. Mashups are really cool.
Yeah.
Yep. Made to look like Galaxy 6, but it's personal sketch cards that he did. See, there's nothing on the back.
Yeah.
Let's see, there is, and I'm the one. You know, it's amazing. Working with artists is such a collaborative and fun process. I love this stuff. I just want to scream to the world, especially to Ingrid Hardy, which you should commission today. But my idea for this Boss Hogg was because Ray, this is Ray Lull again, the Godzilla collector that did the Halloween, the Empire Strikes Back Halloween party, and hopefully I'll be commissioning him for the next 27 to 28 years. But I said we'll have him have the hat. If you look, he also put Boss Hogg's horn from his car on the gun. I don't know if you can see it, but there are little jokes, there are little Easter eggs all over this stuff. My buddy Eric Mail puts two, sometimes one or two Easter eggs on every card. So sometimes he'll hide THX 1138 on there, and then his initials are EM. So he'll hide an EM in there every once in a while. So.
Well, we're going to have to kind of slowly close this out. Elaine, is there anything you would like to ask that I haven't thought of?
Oh my goodness. No, not really. I think we pretty much covered it. I really wanted to see his collection. He was sending us so many images online. I was just so excited to see that.
Derek,
well,
it's been amazing.
Thank you, Elaine.
You really do have an outstanding collection, and I hope you contact many artists to continue your collection, and I can't wait to see the finished version of your sketchbook when you get it done with all the different stuff in it. That's going to be
I actually cannot wait to see new stuff that he does get commissioned in the future as well. I'm definitely going to have to check out his sketchcollectors.com page and his Instagram. So.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm a little. Thank you much. I'm a little behind on those, although I have been posting a little bit more on Instagram. I'm a stay-at-home dad for 4 kids, and that takes up a lot of time. But in 8.5 years, hopefully I'll have hundreds of the 50th anniversary wide visions, ready to go. And I love one of the things I love about all of this is that I'm not going to be able to collect it all. But you can show me, you can connect with other people, and I love it whenever people show me their stuff, and I love showing people my stuff. I've made such great friends with this David Baker and Zane D. And Zane collects Return of the Jedi, so I'm always showing him Return of the Jedi stuff, and he's always showing me Return of the Jedi stuff. And I would love to land Ingrid, Elaine, and Lindsay on 50th Empire for the future, and I really appreciate you guys having me on the show.
Awesome.
Thanks for everything. You guys are awesome. I really love the content that Penciled In Podcast is putting out.
Well, companies, all the trading card companies, including the independent companies and artists, we wouldn't be here if it weren't for collectors like you. So, we thank you. If people didn't collect, there wouldn't be sets to produce, cards to create.
Exactly, a lot less art being drawn and shown. So it's the collectors it's the heart of the industry. I mean, without them, there is no products and there is no beautiful art being created.
No.
Well, yeah, it's all about connections, and I referenced this many times in my article that Ingrid has in Volume 3 about making connections. Yes, this is a physical card, but it's beyond. It's more than that. It's established. It helps me establish a connection with Ingrid. It's helping me establish a connection with Eric Mail. These people have become great friends, and I look forward to being able to meet some of these people in the flesh in real life because we live in this digital world. Ingrid is very fond of asking, are sketch cards sustainable? What do you think about digital and all that kind of stuff? Sketch cards are here to stay. Absolutely. The reason why they're here to stay is because they're physical, but also it causes a connection to be formed between the collector and the artist or the seller or the vendor or whoever whoever you're working with. So no, this is a healthy thing to do.
I'm not much in for the digital. I'd rather own that original piece, one of a kind art. And then also, as you say, every time I get something commissioned from an artist, I'm connecting with that artist. And I made a lot of friends with a lot of the people that I have commissioned from for over a decade now. I'm still friends with them. We email each other all the time, talk about things going on in the lives. Oh, me and my kids, we just did this. And I'm like, well, me and my guinea pigs, we just did this. But no, we all became really good friends. We all talk to each other all the time. I think my Facebook dings every 20 seconds. James Oslin contacts me, Lynn Anderson. So I became really good friends with a lot of these artists. So yeah, connection is key.
Yeah, the beauty of all of this is that me as a collector and not being an artist, I have the ability to choose my own level of participation. And if things are busy and I have to focus on my family, then I go do that. And then if I have a little bit of extra time here, oh, you know what? I have an extra 5 minutes today. I think I will get on Ingrid's Patreon page and see what she's been on. And so the medium allows your own level of participation, and it's amazing that these are physical cards, but it's actually creating connections between humans to make friends and to make lasting relationships, because that's what it's all about. If these cards could sit in my house and collect dust, but they're not collecting dust. They're allowing me to be on the Penciled In podcast and to call my buddy David Baker in Pennsylvania and be, hey, how you doing? What you got coming in? And if you could ever get David on your podcast, he collects cartoony only, and the cartoon renditions or the cartoon interpretations of the Star Wars content that he has. Amazing, just absolutely beautiful. What these artists can come up with. It frankly makes me believe in the human species. So it's a good thing. We do, and sketch cards are here to stay. I'm going to be doing these cards until death, which hopefully is
a long time away.
40 odd years plus away.
or at least after tomorrow, because I owe Ingrid money. So no.
Okay, well, I'm so glad that you've had the chance to share your obvious passion of collecting with everyone. In the info box below, all the links to where they can find you, except for your phone number. I'm not sharing your phone number, but everything else will be in the description box below, so that you can contact Derek and find out more about his amazing collection. Thank you so much, Derek. Thank you again, Elaine. It's been amazing. Hope to have you on again.
Really fun.
I really appreciate it. I'd love to come back on sometime, and I really enjoy your podcast. Watching the other episodes with the other people are just amazing. You were able to land Steve Sansweet. That's just one name. There are plenty of other people out there, but please keep the podcast going, because it's become a daily ritual in my house to watch it after I put my kids to bed.
Thank you so much. We'll try to have you on again. Thank you.